Every once in a while, a video game comes along that, well, really takes the world by storm. A game so fun, so new, or like maybe so different that the entire internet swarms to it like weebs to an anime convention. Hello everyone, I'm Finn. Welcome back to finnfilms. Join me today as we're discussing the new game that is saving competitive video games. The newest Valve title, Deadlock. Before we begin, guys, I just need to tell you to make sure you stay tuned to the very end of the video where I will be giving you all a chance to get access to the current closed alpha testing of Deadlock. So you want to make sure you don't want to miss that. So the competitive video game space has been in a really weird place like the last few years. Honestly, it feels like since the release of Overwatch all the way back in like 2016, the competitive video game space has been really kind of stale. Like, yes, we have seen a number of new titles that have had their time in the spotlight, but ultimately they really only end up being flashes in the pan, the flavor of the month, if you will. Obviously, we had Fortnite, which was an international sensation and is still extremely popular today, but is obviously nowhere near at the same heights that it was in 2019. Of course, we had other battle royales like Call of Duty Warzone, but they've come and went and all eventually run their course. I mean, Warzone now is nowhere near as popular as it was like a few years ago. Meanwhile, long-standing competitive video games like League of Legends and Counter-Strike have somehow managed to maintain their popularity since like 2012 for like over 10 years. I mean, can you believe that League of Legends open beta was in 2009 and that CSGO released in August 2012? Both of these games have had an extremely impressive lifespan, and the fact that they are both still able to stay relevant for like well over 10 years is a super rare thing in like the competitive video game landscape. Counter-Strike obviously had a major resurgence in the last couple of years due to the release of the newest version of the game, Counter-Strike 2, but as someone who put in like well over 4,000 hours into Counter-Strike Go, the change from Global Offensive to Counter-Strike 2 was relatively pretty minor, and it was nowhere near big enough for me to like return back to Dust 2 on a daily basis. As well, Riot Games, the maker of League of Legends, entered into the tactical shooter space, dropping their Counter-Strike clone Valorant, which combines the gameplay of Counter-Strike and tactical shooters like Counter-Strike with hero abilities like Overwatch. And while, yes, this game is fun, and it did introduce kind of new gameplay mechanics to the tactical shooter genre, if I want to play a tac shooter, let's be honest, we're playing Counter-Strike. And then most recently, we had the travesty that was Overwatch 2. I had a lot of hopes for Overwatch 2, but in real kind of classic Blizzard fashion, I was horribly let down. I think a lot of people forget just like how much of a shakeup the original Overwatch was when it released in like 2016. The original Overwatch in many ways was kind of the spiritual successor to Team Fortress 2, combining the like class-based FPS shooter with abilities in team fighting more akin to like a MOBA, something like League of Legends or Dota. Of course, the time eventually dried up for Overwatch, and the game was eventually run into the ground by its balance team. The GOATS meta. I really hoped that Overwatch 2 would be a fresh slate for Overwatch, to show what made the original Overwatch so great, and to try to replicate that again, and to do DPS players a bit of a favor. However, it just turned out to be the same old, the same problems in Overwatch, but now it's just 5v5. I mean, how are you gonna add a 2 next to a title indicating that it is supposed to be a sequel when it's literally just the exact same game minus one player? What are we doing here, Blizzard? I did a whole video on what I think are the major problems with Overwatch 2, so if you want to hear me angrily rant about how Blizzard overtunes the hell out of tanks, and namely supports for the casual player base, then click the eye above. However, though, in the last few weeks, a new game has come out of absolutely nowhere, and it has completely altered the competitive video game landscape. Yeah, I'm talking about Valve's newest project, Deadlock. Deadlock is a third-person shooter and also a MOBA, combining elements of MOBA and MOBA gameplay like League of Legends and Smite with FPS team fights and hero abilities akin to Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, and holy sh**, is this game fun. Deadlock has secretly been in development for like some time now. The people over at Valve have been working in secret to make a new type of game. In many ways, this is the true successor to a game like Team Fortress 2. Deadlock has been in a closed alpha for around a year now, since the beginning of 2024, I believe, Valve getting a number of high-profile streamers and FPS players to test this game in secret, under NDAs of course, so no one really knew about it, at least in the general public, until now. A couple of weeks ago, in late August, Valve lifted these NDAs, allowing content creators and streamers to finally showcase this game to the world, and it has taken off like an absolute rocket. So as I said, Deadlock combines the principles and gameplay of like MOBAs, games like League of Legends, Dota 2, Smite, with a third-person shooter element and hero abilities similar to games like Overwatch and Team Fortress. The game on its surface is relatively pretty simple. It has two teams of 6v6 with 4 lanes on the map. In these lanes are a series of towers that lead to each team's base. Periodically, minions spawn in said lanes. Killing these minions grant players souls, aka gold, in which they can buy items to make their characters stronger. At the beginning of each game, each player selects a pool of heroes. The game will then randomly select one of said heroes for you, and then assign you to a lane for the laning phase. These lanes being 2 lanes of 2v2 lanes and 2 lanes of 1v1 lanes. It's also important to note that you can favorite one of these heroes in your hero pool for a higher chance of getting to play said hero. The game ends whenever one team manages to push into the other team, the enemy team's base, and destroy the other team's patron, aka the Nexus, for a League of Legends reference. As well, guys, I forgot to mention this when I was writing the script for this video, but obviously this game is in alpha, so all of this is pretty much subject to change right now because the game is not in full release yet. They're making constant balance updates to the game, quality of life changes, just changes in general. So a lot of the aspects of the game could be completely changed by the time it fully releases. I absolutely love this game. As someone who played way too much League of Legends since open beta around like 2009-10, and who has logged thousands and thousands of hours in FPS games like Counter-Strike Go, and Overwatch, this combines like 2 of my favorite types of games into one for an incredibly unique and addicting experience. One of the things that I really love about Deadlock is like the quality of life of the game, the way that the devs have simplified a lot of the kind of really annoying aspects that come with MOBA as like a, as a game genre. For example, for many people, when they first learn how to play a MOBA like League of Legends, one of the biggest kind of hardest things to learn, one of the biggest learning curves, is item builds. What does each item do? What items are good on what character? When should you build said items, etc. More often than not, in League of Legends, players use third-party websites with builds already like uploaded to them, so they know what to build. Or more often than not, nowadays, they literally have third-party apps that upload directly into League of Legends as a game and shows you your build and the recommended build that you want to use from like a pro player in the game itself. Deadlock basically took this idea and then integrated it directly into their game. If you were to hit B and pull up the shop menu in Deadlock, you can go here right up to the right and then click builds. You go over here and click public, and then it will show you a huge list of builds that players have made public, and these builds are then ranked by likes. From here, you can just simply click this button and it will automatically integrate said build straight into your shop menu. This makes like learning what items do, which items are good for which character, and when to buy them so much easier than it normally would be. Because I won't lie to you guys, this game, like most MOBAs, does have a pretty high skill ceiling. Like I said, similar to most MOBAs in general. If you've never played a MOBA like League of Legends or Dota or Smite, then this game will be a bit challenging to learn. Generally, in my opinion, the toughest thing that people seem to find with MOBAs is macro play. Basically, what to do on the map and when to do it. When should you group? When should you push? When should you push tower? When should you not push tower? This is why most low elo MOBA games basically are just complete clusterfucks, because people have no idea what they're doing and they forget that this is an objective-based game they're playing, not just team deathmatch. There's a ton of these little quality of life things that the devs of Deadlock have integrated into the game to really help with this learning curve, a learning curve that is pretty steep for most MOBAs. For another example, if one of your turrets is under attack, more often than not, your character will give a audible voice line telling you the color of the lane that is being pushed. As well, if you look on the map itself, it gives you this little visual indication, a blinking, that this tower is taking damage. So you know that maybe like you or one of your teammates should go and defend this tower and farm the minions there, so the gold or the souls in this case in this game aren't just wasted. In general, I find that the best way to learn how to play any new game, really the best way to learn anything in life, is just to do it yourself, to play the game yourself and learn through trial and error, and two, to watch someone who is way better than you play and learn from them. There's a ton of Deadlock streamers and content creators now. Personally, I would recommend the two former Overwatch Pro players and streamers, Surefour and Aimbot Calvin. Both are absolutely cracked at this game, and they are both completely hilarious. So you can learn a ton about like how to play this game, what to do in an optimal level of this game, how to build a character, general macro play, and have a good time all while you're watching it.
I see someone trying to do an illegal operation on the purple lane. The cops are here. Illegal operations going on in yellow. The cops have been called. Cops have been called. You guys got that.
We're doing top mid camps. Illegal activities top mid.
Illegal activity heard. Going. Hey, false f***ing call. Hey!
As well, Deadlock itself has a live game viewer within the game itself, so you can actually watch high elo, high skill level games within the spectator mode of the game in the client and learn firsthand from really good players. Again, at the end of the day, the best way to get good at a video game, really the best thing to get good at any skill in general, is just to do it. Practice makes perfect, and there's really no substitute for putting hours into something. The game as well has a whole entire tutorial section, which you should definitely do regardless of like how many hours you have in any other MOBA game, as it does help a lot, as there are a lot of quirky things about Deadlock that are unique to Deadlock and differ from some MOBA games. As well, another piece of advice that I would give to new Deadlock players is to find one or two characters you like and then play them exclusively until you feel like you have a good grasp on how to play them, how to build them, what their abilities do, how they lane, etc. And then from there, you can move on to learning other new characters. However, as I said though, this game is currently in closed alpha, so you can only get access to the game via Steam if someone who already has access to the game invites you to it. If you have made it this far into the video, then I want to give you a big thank you all, and I'd like to reward you by potentially giving you all access to Deadlock to play this game. All you have to do if you want to get access to Deadlock is like the video and subscribe to the channel, and then send a friend request to my Steam ID, which I'm going to put on screen now. As well, it will be listed in the description box down below at the top of the description. I'm going to do my best to try to accept as many of these friend requests as possible and then invite as many people as possible to the playtest of Deadlock, really so you can all get a chance to try this game out for yourselves and see if you like it. Because honestly, I absolutely am in love with this game. I am straight up addicted, so the more people that play it and enjoy it, the better that the game will ultimately become. As always guys, if you did enjoy this video or learn something new, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as that is the easiest way to help support me, and your engagement on these videos really does go a long way to helping the channel. It really does help put the video into the algorithm. If you guys did enjoy this video, then let's check out some of my other content on screen now. Again, thank you all for continuing to support me and watch my videos. I hope to see you in the next one. Until next time, stay safe out there. Peace, love, adu.